Morning, folks. Welcome to the Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery. It is an honor and a privilege to be back in the saddle with you folks. I know we've been a little bit light over this month, but that's fine. It's summer. Get out there and enjoy yourself. You don't have to be plugged into the daily news cycle, but you can be. And today we are talking about something that I think has flown under the radar a little bit. You know, it's hard, it's very hard to keep up with everything that's happening. So much winning, folks. Am I right? I'm wrong. I'm being sarcastic. There's a lot going on. The war's not going great. We can talk about that. What Trump is doing to the White House physically is fascinating. None of that is where I want to spend today. I think it's important to reframe our understanding of Trump. I think he is the final boss of American corruption. And I know some people, you have fucking Trump derangement syndrome. You do. Trust me. I am telling 100% the truth and nothing but. But he did something that I think not enough people are talking about, and it has been covered. But this is the Trump Truth Social API. So, essentially, at a high level, what's happening is Trump likes to manipulate the markets to the benefit of himself and insiders within his team, and has made significant amounts of money, historic amounts of money. But the American system has always been corrupt. Hillary Clinton made $200,000 to speak at Goldman Sachs, and we didn't like that at the time. But the actual billions of dollars that Trump and his family have made from absolutely looting and pillaging the system that they're also crumbling is something that's mildly not ideal. And this is a cartoonish example of it. Because when he goes on Truth Social, sometimes he goes on there and he'll tweet things out timed to the market to try to make the market move a certain way. Okay, he understands the power of his words. He's probably not the only president to do a little bit of that. He may be the only president who's trading on it directly, and he's certainly the only president whose company created an API so they can sell early access to his market manipulating tweets directly to Wall Street firms. It's just insane. So he wants Wall Street to pay him, I think it's like $100,000 a seat. He wants them to pay him directly so that they can also engage on the insider trading that he is doing. Now, obviously that's ridiculous. Obviously it's corrupt. Obviously Republicans would be going crazy if it was a Democrat, all this, and Trump is unusual and he gets away with things that no one else would, and all of that is true, but what's craziest about it is that most people who were ringing the bell for him incredibly misguidedly were doing it because he was there to fight the elites. Now, you had to be a little slow to think that was going to work, and that's fine. It's okay. We're all a little slow sometimes. I'm a little slow today. I have probably had 4 bowel movements this morning, and we're not going to get into the specifics, but let's just say I got to be sitting there reading the news, absolutely blasting liquid out, going, hey, do I have the human feces Taco Bell shit disease? I don't know. That slows me down. I'm feeling a little slow. I think we're all a little bit slow right now, so it's okay. It's fine. But it's important to see things clearly when they're clearly laid out for you. No? Maybe? What do we think, guys? What do we think? The billions of dollars that he is making as he plays chicken with the global economy for a war that literally nobody wants, that he's now stuck us in, that now Americans are coming back in coffins for. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm just adding all these things up and saying maybe they're not so fun, but that's fine because we have fun here. And we have fun on this program, and we will have fun because it's a beautiful summer day in California. What's better than that? There's not much better than that. It is really nice. It's very nice being home. Before we get off this, because I think that the corruption element to this, we've all, in the modern media environment, we are all addicts, I think. And we get used to things. So when something new happens, it's like, whoa, we're going to war in Iran. That's like what gets people's dicks to budge a little bit. We're going to the crazy war. What if we nuke them? Like, that's where people are at. It's like, what's new? What's going to punch through? What is Andrew Tate is to Joe Rogan what the nuke is to starting the war. Do you understand what I'm saying? To get people's attention on the internet, you basically start with like, hey, here are these boring establishment news outlets that have journalistic protocols and things like that. And then you have someone come along and be like, yeah, well, maybe they're full of shit, dude. Maybe the establishment is full of shit. And people are like, well, that kind of feels right because things don't seem like they're working out for me. And then they become popular, and then someone else comes along and they're like, actually, they're the establishment. And now I'm going to say something that's going to really blow your mind. And that's Tate just being like, all women are fucking whores. And I guess he's in jail now. I didn't have time. When he went to jail, I said, of course. I didn't click that article. I don't have time to read that. I don't care. Go to jail. Don't go to jail. Makes no difference to me. I've never cared about you. All due respect. And then it goes further, and now you have this clavicular gentleman who's like, really, all that matters is being hot. You got to hit yourself in the face with a hammer. And then people are like, yeah. But then what's next? News is moving the same direction. People have lost the ability to pay attention to one thing. So it's what's going to capture. And I'm part of this economy too. It's like when I'm going into a stand-up comedy weekend, it's like, what's popping right now? What's popping right now? What is topical? What can I post that is new, that is topical, that people are talking about so people can go, oh, that's new. But a story like, hey, did you know Trump has beat every other American president in terms of scale of corruption, even adjusted for inflation, times like 10 billion in like 1 year. And people are like, yeah, but he does that. It's one of his things. It's just one of his things. And then you start noticing how it's actually tied into global policy, how we're like literally going to war because we're like, there can't be nukes in the Middle East. And then today he just signed a deal with Saudi Arabia. Like, well, they can have some nukes. Well, they can have some nukes because they're greasing Jared's wheel. They're greasing Jared's little wheel. Maybe there will be a reaction to this, and eventually people will be like, oh, it might be nice to have a president who actually does try to uphold the institutions and doesn't incite insurrection. And people got over January 6th too quickly. Because people like would keep bringing it up, and people are like, okay, what are you just fucking going to keep talking about that? It's like it's some things are a big deal. You have to pay attention to things that are a big deal. So the corruption thing, it's always going to be there. It's going to be simmering the entire time. But every once in a while, when he rings the bell and does something so ridiculous as to say, we are charging money to Wall Street so they can also get rich off of our market manipulation. And this is the market that everyone has their retirement tied up in. This is who they're manipulating. And they're not here to fight for you, and they're not here to fight for the elites. And if you didn't get that, it's just because you're a little dumb. But that's okay. We're all slow. Been shitting all morning. Now, Jared and Ivanka have... The thing is, what they're doing is actually kind of a little fun. Because what they've been working on is taking over an island, which, I mean, it's a slight read the room. There's a tiny read the room that I would personally consider if one of the main knocks on my dad was that he was best friends with a famous, actually the number one power rankings AP coaches poll, number one ranked billionaire pedophile who famously had an island. But they are going to go ahead and they are going to take over their own island. But let's hear him talk about it, because I think that, to me, it's important here. This is actually a very important point, because sometimes you bring these things up. You bring up like corruption. You bring up all these different things. And people get a perspective of you like you're not a very fun guy. And the thing is that I am a very fun guy. You can tell by the color of my shirt, my hat. And the many, many times I've come on here and encouraged people to party. I'm a fun person. And you can't get stuck being not fun. Because that is one of the things that Trump always gets people on. Is people are like, oh, what do you hate when people make money? You fucking pussy. No, I don't. I am, trust me, I'm more fun. I'm trying to make sure everyone gets to have fun, not just a few corrupt people. So I don't want to be accused of not being fun because I'm actually the most fun person in the conversation. Trump won't even have a beer. He won't even have a beer. So don't tell me he's more fun. Okay? He's weird. He wouldn't get out of Spain's photo in the World Cup. He's a strange man, and he apparently likes war, even though he said he didn't. But I am fun, and so I do appreciate that when Ivanka talks about building a $1.5 billion resort on Albania's Sazan Island, what I do appreciate is hearing someone who feels like they've found their thing. And that is nice. I like when people find their calling. I like when people find their voice. And so this is a tough one for me because on the one hand, the Albanians are like burning in the streets because I think they only have one. I think this is their one island. I think this is their island. And she claims that she found it swimming. She was like swimming off a boat. And she was like, dude, this island fucking rips. And so they're going to take it from Albania because their father is the president of America, which is Albania's number one ally. I heard. To be honest, if you're Albanian, you're like, then I would say maybe you're right. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not used to the accent. I don't actually know. But I stand with the Albanian people because I want them to be able to experience their only island and have fun on it. But I'm torn because it does sound like she's found a flair for architecture. So let's listen to her talk about it.
I'm working on an incredible project with my husband in the Mediterranean. It's massive in scale.
I think that's an understatement. Can you explain?
Yes, it is.
There's no power on this island. You're building everything from scratch. Correct.
Well, it's an unbelievable, beautiful 1,400 hectare private island in the middle of the Mediterranean. We were on a friend's boat and we stopped for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it. We swam to the islands. We went on a hike, barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated. And it stayed with us ever since. And over the course of many years, we developed the opportunity to help realize its potential and transform it, but with a lot of restraint and care because the land is so beautiful that really the architecture has to be fully integrated into it, almost rise from it.
Right. So she seems happy. You know, and that's one thing that when you see someone and they have that new island glow, it's hard to want to be a party pooper because I have to put myself in her shoes. I'm swimming on a yacht. I don't know where I am. What is that? I'm in the Mediterranean. What is these countries? They make olive oil. All of them, I think, or feta. One of the two. Sometimes olives. Maybe too much. Sometimes there's too many olives. You have a Greek salad, and you're like, it's getting a little salty, and that's an olive thing. But they love it over there, and it's fine. And it's seafaring, the Mediterranean. Maybe there's more salt in the sea, and maybe that's what the salad represents. But when you see someone and she's got that new island glow, and she's got a little pep. She has a little pep in her step because it is hard growing up wealthy because no one respects you. When you grow up as wealthy and as well-connected as she is, it's hard for people to say, well, she's doing her own thing. You know, how is she supposed to step out of the shadow? Like, because her husband, his dad was obviously also a criminal con man, rich, wealthy New York piece of shit who I think hired a hooker to fuck his sister's husband and then filmed it and then went to jail. And then Trump was like, get him out of there. The guy is great. And they had real estate and all this. And so it's like even her husband's dad was rich. And then it's like, well, who are these nepo babies? They've never done shit. But then it's like, not really, because Jared is wandering around the Middle East picking up bags of cash, and he put together a peace plan that has really worked out very well if you see how things are actually going. And then also he gets to negotiate with Iran, which is kind of fun because I grew up with some kids who are who were very well off, and most of them just ended up like starting their own fashion brand, or some of them would like drop an album, just throw out music or something. But it was always clear that it was self-funded, and it's like, well, negotiating with Iran, that's different, and that's how you kind of make a name for yourself. But she's kind of finding her way. Most people know her as the daughter that Trump said was hot or had huge tits or something. I don't remember. But the point is, she's been trying to find her way, and now she has the new island glow. And I'm happy for her, because not a lot of rich kids that I grew up with were able to buy an island. In fact, none. Again, the island thing, interesting choice, because we worry about billionaires buying the islands. But when she talks about it, she's like, the architectures, it's going to be part of the island. It's like Avatar. It's going to be like an Aman resort or like a Four Seasons, and it's going to raise out of the island. And then people who are also millionaires and billionaires will be able to go to this undiscovered Mediterranean island and have fun. The problem is the entire country of Albania was like, hey, that's actually our only island, and we do tours to it. Like, there's a tour guide talking about how he went there. So let's take a look at this island. We're gonna see a little bit. This is a PBS story about how the Albanians are maybe not as excited. And that might be because they're not going to be able to afford to go to the island anymore, which right now is like, public beaches and lands and hiking and stuff that like everyone can enjoy. But you can't monetize that. And also, it's not going to help her self-actualize. So when I see the Albanians protesting, I go, fair. And I get it. Wouldn't want to lose access to a resort, although I'm sure many of them could wash towels on it. But they're also kind of getting in the way of someone who just found their thing. And rich people, they like catalogs. They like to go, oh, look at that lamp. Look at that fucking lamp. But I don't want that lamp because Susan has it down the street. I want that designer to make me that lamp, but fucking 12 million times bigger, and I want to put that in my private resort on my private island. That's what they like, and that's what's fun for them. And so when I see the Albanians protesting in the street, who like hiking and stuff like that, it's like, okay, right, but there's two sides to every story, and there's everyone from this country that the island belongs to, and then there's also Ivanka. And who's happy? How could you even weight that happiness? I don't think that's fair. So we're gonna look at this. And I do want to say, like, spiritually, I'm leaning towards the Albanian people instead of Ivanka's self-actualization. But higher probability I want to go to the island when there's a nice resort on there. When you put that nice resort on there, then I kind of want to go. Imagine what if they did a water slide? What if they did a water slide? There are some really nice resorts that have obviously the nice lamp, they have chandelier, all sorts of, you go in and they give you a juice of some kind, a tropical, right when you get there. You don't even pay. They bake it into the cost. It doesn't matter. But the slide is what could tilt it. If they have a really nice slide, and I don't know if they would, because I actually don't know if either of these people know what fun is aside from getting Botox in their face or potentially using the Iranian negotiations for their own corruption and family business dealings, because they decided to, instead of serve the public, use the entire force of America to actually personally and only enrich their families. But again, I'm not confident they would build a slide. But if they did build a slide, the happiness index, it could twist back. It could twist back because if you go down a really nice premium 4-5-star quality hotel water slide, that brings a lot of happiness. That might bring more happiness than some hikes. But let's give the Albanian people a say in what they think.
White sand beaches, blue waters, flora, and fauna. The island of Sazan is a jewel in the Adriatic Sea, the westernmost point of Albania. But the former Cold War-era base is now in a vibrant nature preserve. It's also an inviting prospect for real estate developers. Chief among them, Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner. And their plans are running headlong into Albanians who want to keep what's theirs. Special correspondent Simon Ostrovsky and producer Katya Patton report now from Albania on a small island at the center of a big controversy.
It's week 2 of the biggest protests in Albania in years. And most of the people out here want to speak out against corruption in their government. But there's also a sense of disappointment with Albania's biggest ally, America, and the way members of Donald Trump's family are treating this country.
This is the video that sparked the uprising people are now calling the Flamingo Revolution. Private security guards violently detain an activist protesting against a luxury development in a protected nature preserve that is a home for the iconic pink bird. It's a luxury development that U.S. President Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner are backing. In 2024, Kushner shared these renderings of the lavish proposal on his Instagram account.
You know, it's not even a business for me, despite the scale of it.
But the plans didn't generate a lot of international attention until recently,
it's not a business, it's a
when
calling,
Ivanka made an appearance on a podcast that angered the citizens of this economically struggling Balkan nation.
Not only the island, but we have 5 miles of beachfront directly across from the island, this beautiful peninsula with a lagoon on one side, the ocean on the other, beautiful white sand beaches.
But those white sand beaches are on protected land, and the island, it's not private. It is in fact public property. The couple's attempts to appropriate it have elicited much anger here, but Ivanka's claims that she accidentally stumbled upon it have generated even more eye rolls.
She said she discovered the Iceland, but that belongs to us.
How did it make you feel when you saw her talking about the island?
I was mad because the island is ours, not hers.
It's an unbelievable, beautiful 1,400-hectare private island in the middle of the Mediterranean. We were on a friend's boat, and we stopped for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it.
She discovered the island, right?
Yeah.
That was very funny. And the sad at the same time. Well, we have only one island.
Yeah.
And I'm a tour guide, and I go into that island like 60 times per year.
Yeah.
I wanna go another 60 times more. We need it. It's ours.
So, but how is anyone supposed to discover anything is a fair question. You know, you can't everyone's done everything. How are you supposed to discover if people get to be like, I was already there. We already knew. Yeah, but I just discovered it. I am the first wealthy white American to show up. Did I not discover it? Isn't that what George Clooney did with tequila? Right? I don't know. He went down to Mexico and he was like, look at this. What if we didn't use all the appropriate ingredients to make tequila and called it 100% agave? That's a discovery, guys. So if I had hopped off a boat and just saw an island sitting there, I'd be like, I discovered that. You know, so let's give her credit. And the renderings do look nice. Again, I'm leaning towards maybe the most corrupt family in history shouldn't use the power of our entire government to force a country that relies on us to give up a piece of public land just so that they can do whatever with it and make it a place that the richest among us, perhaps the people who got rich off of using the Trump API, get to go. That's my lean, but I try to be fair. I try to be fair when I lay these things out. You know, and the funny thing is, and this is what, and I hesitate to give this advice because it's too good of advice, but she might have got away with it if she didn't do the stinking podcast. When will rich, successful billionaires realize you just don't do the pod? They're going to clip that pod up, and they're going to say, oh, wait, Oh, I forgot you wanted to take our entire private island and protected sand beaches that we use and give tours on. If you don't do the pod, you're probably fine. Like when Peter Thiel goes on a podcast and he's like, well, I don't actually, it's a fascinating question. The idea of whether humanity needs to exist outside of just computers and AI and mass surveillance, and the nation state might be an antiquated. Shut up, dude. I hate giving this advice because I know a lot of billionaires listen to the pod. If you're going to try to fuck the people raw up the ass, don't do an interview about it because they won't like it, and then they'll know before you do it. But no one is capable of avoiding clout. This is where we're at. Like, the only thing that it's like, okay, I'm rich. I'm making billions of dollars. It's exciting. We actually are we're going to use my dad's influence to rip an island from an entire country. But I really want to do a podcast and tell people about how exciting it is, because I want people to realize I've found my voice as an architecture ass bitch. There is no higher quality in life for a rich nepo baby daughter than to become an architecture bitch. And I'm happy for her. Again, in fairness, I'm happy for her for achieving that, because it's the number one goal. You look at the renderings, great renderings. They got a good rendering guy. They got a great rendering guy or girl, and we don't care. But, it's a real battle. It's a real battle, and this is the type of battle that is going to be fought consistently. If we keep going forward this direction, it's going to be massive public uprisings versus the self-actualization of some billionaire's daughter who has a lot of power. And that's a fair fight. That's a good fight. That's the fight that's happening on the White House lawn, for real, for real. None of this McGregor's old, his leg blows out. The UFC is over. The UFC is categorically done. No one cares anymore. Oh, this guy's going to fight and say some political thing. Who gives a shit? That's not a real fight. The real fight is one rich daughter versus a country. And that's the type of shit I'll watch. And we're watching it right now. So enjoy yourself. Grab a bucket of popcorn and enjoy yourself. Get a catalog. Let's find. These are the things that we should be betting on Polymarket. Is what catalog does she buy the chandeliers for this beautiful, beautiful island from? And we'll find out. Now, after the break here, I'm just going to read you some tour dates. But we do have another. We have to check in. I didn't know Bill Gates had a daughter. But apparently, Bill Gates' daughter, Phoebe Gates, her startup FIA is facing scrutiny after Bloomberg reported its browser extension allegedly took credit for online purchases it didn't influence. We'll cover that right after some tour dates. Folks, come on out and see me on the road, joeavery.com. We've got a lot of fun shows coming up. We got Boston, Houston, Brea, Tempe, Alpharetta, New Orleans, Edmonton, St. Pete, Charlotte, Detroit, Milwaukee, Denver, Los Angeles, San Diego, and these aren't up yet, but why don't I just go ahead and tell you, we're adding fucking Mobile, Alabama on the back of New Orleans, and we are also adding Austin in December. Last time I did Austin, those shows sold out. It was the most tickets I'd ever sold in a weekend up until last weekend in San Francisco and Sacramento. Thank you guys so much for coming out, bro. The hometown love is the best thing on the planet. I always ride for the Bay, so when the Bay rides for me, it brings me joy. Sacramento, I know you're not the Bay, but hey, fucking NorCal shit, bro. NorCal shit. Always some of the most fun shows of the year. I'm excited to show you guys some of the. We got some incredible content out of that. It'll be a great episode of away games. A lot of fun clips, and I think I need to fix something with my camera. So you know what? Let's play the one clip because we talked about it already. Here was my joke this weekend about the old Taco Bell shit disease. We have like a human feces-based parasite that's causing people to shit their brains out endlessly. Apparently they like caught it because of Taco Bell or something. People were shitting, which I'm like, how did they know something was different? If I ate Taco Bell and was shitting liquid, I'd just be like, well. If it isn't the consequences of my own actions once again. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Who knew to call a doctor? I would just be texting my boys like, we're back. I think it's a RFK Jr. psyop, dude, because he's running the CD. He doesn't want you eating at T-Bell, dude. He wants you drinking beef tallow. Don't think outside the bun, or you'll be pissing outside yours. I don't know. It's a harder impression to do than you think. I'll get it by the end of the weekend. I don't know, dude. I gotta work on it, dude. Fuck him. Okay, folks. So, continuing with our little theme of the day, we have a story here about Phoebe Gates. First of all, did not know Bill Gates had a daughter. Second of all, would not the point. Not the point. And my wife would be fine with it. But she understood, dude. Come on. Come on, a little bit of Gates money. Come on. But she started a shopping app, kind of a women's targeting shopping. Again, and we talked about this. Rich girls be shopping. It's what they do. They have to acquire resources. So essentially, here's essentially what happened is Phoebe Gates sells a shopping app, target audience 90% women, hires a bad apple inflates some numbers, gets tabloid attention, women read the tabloid, women download the app and shop, bad apple's numbers now real. Unbelievable. This is how it works. And what was she supposed to do? Now, maybe it's not her fault. She started this idea and someone's like maybe inflating the reporting. I'm looking at some memes here. Investor Nick says, while everyone is trashing Phoebe Gates for the Fias scam, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the real mastermind on the whole thing is actually this chick. And we have Sophia Kiani, okay, one of the founders of Fiaco, host of the Burnouts. So again, you can't just be insanely rich and have all the resources. You need self-actualization. And you need to go on podcasts and talk about it. If you are not on huge podcasts, accidentally tipping off the masses to how you're fucking them, you're just not doing it right. So again, this is a controversy because, as I think Trust Fund Terry here puts it, imagine being born on third base and still trying to steal home. It is hilarious, but what else was she supposed to do? We have to provide people avenues for where they can go to entertain themselves. Again, I think it's pretty clear, not exactly a Trump guy. We need to figure out something for him to do. This is actually where the corruption and the scamming of our entire system might actually be decent, because it seems to be a hobby he's really committed to, and that might help keep him out of war, but it just hasn't yet. We have to provide things for these people to do, or they do crazy things. Look, I'm no Bezos guy. Don't really love Bezos. Not a huge B head, dude. I'm not a big Bezos head, although he has one, folks. But, building a rocket and just sending a bunch of broads to space, in the grand scheme of billionaire activities, not as problematic. It's not as problematic. Getting on testosterone and getting absolutely jacked. Hey, that's a better, do I like it? Does it make me happy? No, but it's a fun thing for him to do. But then it's like also, okay, he's buying the Washington Post and he's actually steering them more towards Trump and he's sucking Trump's dick because I guess he needs more. At what point, this is what I don't understand. At what point do these people need more? Why do you need more? Have you thought of maintaining dignity? It's a concept. Maybe they wouldn't be where they are if they had it, but I don't know what's happening. Maybe what's missing, okay? Because I think Bezos is still like looking for some fulfillment. He thought, if I send these women to space, it'll make my new wife happy. Okay, do this whole marriage thing. People come there. Okay, that's kind of fun. It's in Venice, which will be underwater soon because of one-day shipping. I don't know, but honestly, sometimes Amazon is nice. But the point is, maybe he's missing hair. Let's see if I can get a rendering of, can you show me Jeff Bezos with hair? Because I think the muscles have been helpful, but the hair might be better with hair. Let's just do with hair. Let's see what AI comes up with. And I recognize I've just taken out like a rice paddy in Vietnam for this. But guys, I'm trying to make money on this pod too. Okay? So we're going to do Bezos with hair. I wonder what hair it's going to go with. I think and I'm only going to do 2. My next one, I'm going to see if we can do spiked with frosted tips and an earring. Because Backstreet Bezos might be having enough fun that he doesn't need to tilt the Washington Post towards Trump, right? Okay, so ChatGPT just made Elon Musk with hair. That is not correct, folks. Okay, I've uploaded a photo so that it doesn't confuse. I think I've got him here. He might be at Coachella, and he's looking very sturdy in a black shirt. If you're just listening, he's looking sturdy in a black shirt, and he's there with his wife, who looks like she got run over by a truck full of plastic. It actually looks like she got hit by a Botox truck, and then they reconstructed her with more experimental plastic. And I think that the one of the reasons that he might have sent her to space is to test out materials for the upcoming Amazon drones. Like, I think if they can take whatever is in her face and tits and put them into the Amazon drones when they come to deliver you, your peptide toothpaste or whatever the future will behold, they might use that plastic and they will know that it could have gone to space. Okay, this is burn AI to the ground. I said that's Elon, you goofball. How about Jeff Bezos with spiked Backstreet Boys frosted style tips and an earring? Use this pic. We're sorry, but the image may violate our guardrails around lightly sexual or provocative themes. That's not. He's not a sexual being. It's fundamentally unsexual. That's crazy. I guess that would make him more sexual. I don't know. I don't really know. But my point was, these people need something to do. And who am I to judge? Okay, you're Bill Gates' daughter. You're going to want to found a company. And I'm going to give her some credit here, because I think that the right thing to do would be to start something that's like, okay, well, what if I do something that's going to give back because I have all this money? And she's like, no. I want to make money, and I actually want to do it unethically. That was her plan, was like, no. I need to be rich, and I already am, but I want to make money, and I want to do it unethically because I want to mimic what my father has done, which is to get to do interviews and podcasts, and I need a voice, and I don't have a good enough voice to sing. And people would call me a nepo baby for that. So I will become a founder, because if I become a founder, I can get on my Elizabeth Holmes shit. People forget Elizabeth Holmes, founder of Theranos, which ended up being fake and not real and was supposed to be a revolutionary new product. a revolutionary new product that teaches you when your blood work is bad. People forget she was great at her job. She was cooking. She was absolutely cooking, because what she saw her job as was not actually a good product that works. It was being an influencer in style of business. And that's what a lot of this is. It's all ego fulfillment in a certain way. And as we discussed, nice items from elevated versions of a Pottery Barn. That's what it's all about. And I think, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I'm doing a podcast. It's just the problem is that I'm not a vapid piece of shit. But we're all trying to self-actualize in some way. Some people become veterinarians. And they're like, oh, that dog is sick. And they fix it. And you know what we call those people? Poor. Here's a photo of Jeff Bezos with the hair in the ear. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh my God, put that up. Hey, did they tweak his wife, or is that what she actually looks like? Oh my God, that's original. She looks like a deep sea creature. She looks like one of those fish that they dig up from the bottom of the sea and you go, Jesus Christ. She looks like one of those fish that you see from like deep down in the depths. They always have like a headlamp. They always have a fucking headlamp. And like you see the fish and you go, do we need to save the reefs? And we do because we don't understand the environment and the consequence of everything. And we need to make sure that we safeguard the earth, which is our steward and our spirit and our life. But you see a gross fish and you go, maybe we don't need the ocean. And that's what she looks like. Holy shit. I'd like to fucking put that unagi on some rice. Jesus. But he looks, the hair, kind of like a Guy Fieri cut. This could be, I do think we need to crowdfund Bezos to Turkey. Hashtag Bezos to Turkey. If we send Jeff Bezos to Turkey and get him hair, maybe he'll finally be able to relax. That could be what he's been missing the whole time. You don't need the Washington Post. You don't need to suck Trump's dick right now to try to get some extra things for Amazon. You've got all the money. You don't need rockets. You don't need the rockets. You're just sending women to space. What are we doing? They can barely drive cars. What are you doing? You don't need the rockets. You just might need a little fucking crop. Bezos to Turkey, dude. Bezos to Turkey, and I think everything would be better. I think it would be fine. Bezos to Turkey. We need to provide self-actualization resources for billionaires, or things are going to get weird. They're getting weird, and it's because of ego and drive and unhappiness, and that's on us. We need to start programs. We need to start community centers, counseling programs, schools. Ways to be happy for billionaires. Hey, Elon, calm down. You don't need to be inflaming race wars in countries you have nothing to do with on an application you purchased and force the engineers to push your own tweets out more. You could not do that. You don't need to use all of our retirement funds to artificially inflate the value of SpaceX, which does do some very cool things, but is not making money and is not valued appropriately. You don't need to do that. You need peace. This is where we need the Asians. And I mean this. We need to call in the Asians, dude. I saw a clip the other day of some Buddhist. He was talking about, like, why would I chase happiness? I'm chasing peace. I'm chasing peace because when something goes up, it must come down. If I chase happiness, there will be the other side. He needs peace. He's working on that. Polishing a single grain of rice, I assume. I don't know. He's rubbing a stick around a bowl, making a sound. I assume. I don't know. But he might be the answer for them. We might need to send the billionaires to Turkey for hair, to Asia for peace. And then maybe we can all come up with a compromise. Maybe we split the land. Maybe we let the country keep most of its island, and we also build a nice hotel with water slides. Folks, it's possible. These are not just good ideas, they are great ideas. I I think it's up to us. I think it's up to us to provide peace and happiness for billionaires, and we will. And it will be what saves society, and you will have heard it here first. That is the Joey Show for this week. Appreciate you guys. I will be out camping next week, so probably will not have the internet access to upload something. But then I'll be back in New York more regularly. We'll likely get back to a more predictable cadence. But guess what? Maybe sometimes I'm just a surprise that blesses your day. That just you look and you say, I forgot I was a member of the 12, but now I'm pleased, and now I'm getting divvied up with the homies. Shout out to everyone who's been buying the divvied up merch, flying off the shelves at the shows. Love you guys. And check out the Patreon if you want extra content. I'm going to be hopping over there and doing an extra episode today. That is patreon.com/Joey Avery. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
Thank God I have a podcast.